Yeah, big welcome to you, my dear Cancer. And of course, a big welcome to all the other zodiac signs that felt like looking into this reading, felt like getting an answer, felt like needing help. So do I profit from each reading, and I can really see how this affects us all and how each reading is speaking to me. Each reading is giving me a very clear sign where I should be careful, where I should open up, etc. etc. So the sun has moved into the moon, and we can see that the subconscious, the dark satellite that is turning around our earth and moving water, moving our emotions, and looking deep into our subconscious. Where do we come from? How did we evolve? Why do we evolve? The wolf into the dog, past these two towers, traveling forward, traveling up, and of course the moon in the chariot. And it's almost like here we go through these two towers and then we come back and go again out. It's a very interesting combination. When the sun, the ego, the self, is in the moon, is looking deep into the subconscious, and then the moon in your sign, it's almost like there is a very interesting circle happening that allows you to look very deep into your subconscious, because it's just not only the moon is in the but also the head. The ego is willing to look at where do I come from and where do I want to go. The yoga position that I created for the Pisces, the moon, is the fish pose. And then here, downward facing dog, which is the wolf, upward facing dog, which is the dog that has evolved. With you, I created Ashwasanchalan Asana, the horse itself. You become the horse. The lungs, like a cloak of air that we can breathe. Here I have Manhattan, and then here I have the Sphinx created with the faces, the cup where then you come out. I created the Yoni Lingam connection, and the garden or the green fresh air that we go out, because he's traveling out of the town, going into nature. Now the combination here is that this is the existence and the divine love, and this is all about our feelings, because it's very water connected. And the story here is, how deep are you willing to look into your subconscious? What is ruling you? What is controlling you? What emotions are really allowed to finally come up, evolve, and then you face them. You face yourself, future to the past. And it's really intense. It can be really intense, because sometimes we don't feel like ready to look at where do we come from and what have our parents done with our subconscious, because that's where we get the programming. You are the Queen of Cups. If your birthday is between June 10th and July 12th, this is your court card in my reading. When this card comes up, then I know you are really there. Here I pick it to show you that this card is you as a court card, as a personality that is working out there. Please look in the description below. I have all the other dates if you're born before or after. So I do want to look into where is she looking at, because she's looking obviously into the past, but it also means she's showing our left side, so that we understand how emotional and how intuitive she really is. So I'm picking the Medicine Woman, and it was powerful because the card literally came flying out, and this is you. You came up again. So you have worked on yourself. You know who you are. I mean, you came up in the reading. And it shows me that you have done the work. You are knowing who you are. And of course, then I wanted to see a little bit further back through Aleister Crowley. What else is there? And these three came up. The Eight of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the Nine of Cups. And of course, the Eight of Swords is when we entangle ourselves in other people's business. The Two of Wands is Mars in Aries, which is creating now something profound that you decided to overcome because of this, and you decided to really connect with your emotional side, which is the Nine of Cups, which is a happiness that only you can give yourself. You decided to really create here you want to work on yourself, right? This is where the Eight of Swords comes in, and the Eight of Swords is Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini is before you, so maybe you have a little Gemini inside of you, talking a lot, but an inner thought, a mix, an inner thinking that blocks you sometimes, but you do have the action and you do have the emotional that comes. So in a way, I think you really know how to overcome sometimes energies like this. Because this is like you trapping yourself sometimes in the way you think. So this is going backwards, and I want to also incorporate the last reading, which was to be love is the end purpose of all emotions. And this that you are the most loving, the most healing, the most gentle, the most giving person. And of course, the title of the video itself was, honestly, this is one of the most powerful readings I've ever done. So if you're interested, please look into that last reading, because it was quite powerful, and it says to be love is the end purpose of all emotions. And you have done that. You have cleared that, and the last card is the happiness, is this deep emotional satisfaction that is when you know yourself, that is when you know who you are, when you have when you have done something that gives you this kind of deep satisfaction, even though there is a mental like a trappedness sometimes that comes up in the way you look at yourself. Then going forward into the future came this card, and this card says limits. Know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reactions to past events. The number 38. And I think that's then a 12, and that's a 3. I think that is connected to this one. That you sometimes maybe still feel the limits of your own mental thinking, of your own mental perspective. And because the sun goes into the moon, you are now allowed to really look deep within and recognize these kind of limits. or these kinds of thoughts that you still have within you. And it's quite a dark card, but there is this one star, and I can see that the horse is moving forward. The horse even looks like it's the moon. The surface of the moon is in the horse. So I think you're invited to finally get up and do go forward, do go into the future. And then what was really interesting, out of the muse came these 4 cards, and they all came upside down. Now in the Muse Tarot there is no negative aspect. So I use the native Indian perspective that these are not here yet. They were all coming up upside down, and I have to respect that, but it means that these 4 cards, this knowledge, which we're going to look into, the 2 of Swords, which is Moon in Libra, the 7 of Inspiration, which is Mars in Leo, the Emperor, an Aries, and the Page of Voices. So you're making a decision about how you can open yourself even more to your own power, to your own knowledge, new knowledge that has the young generation, how you can open yourself up, how you can connect to the star that is above you. But you gotta make a decision, which is good because it shows that you have realized this card. I'm gonna go and bring this here because this comes from the past. This is saying 8, you went down to 2. Together it's 10. So there is an ending, there is a realization there, but there is still something that you need to take care of. You need to look into what's going on with the 8 of Swords, what's going on with this Gemini energy within you. And Jupiter is the planet of luck. What is it that you don't acknowledge within you, this happiness or this luck, that you know who you are because you came up, and the love that this woman is giving, she's enjoying to give her love to all. You see, there's a whole family. She's enjoying that. She loves that. And the decision that you have to take, to actively empower yourself, to actively make those steps, to open the veil, to open the darkness, and to see that you can be powerful, to see that you can be an emperor, that you can also rule, that you can also give the people the feeling that you're leading them. That's what a leader does. He leads where to the best he can imagine for all. And then the new generation that new thinking is coming down because you created a very strong, powerful mental step to open this new kind of thinking, this new way of thinking. This is what the pages are. The pages are the young generation that bring the new kind of thinking to us. Then came an animal spirit, and that one came also upside down, and it's the raccoon. The raccoon is an earth animal. And I'm going to hold it straight so you can look at it. Talented, shadowy, in hiding. Okay. Yeah, you don't see that you have the power to be that emperor. When in balance, it's generous. It's a generous friend and an exceptional artist. When out of balance, which it was reversed. It's competitive and a starving artist to bring into balance, make new work. Okay, cool. So, yes, you are allowed to open up, you are allowed to step up, and you have to make that decision. You just have to make the decision. Sometimes it's what it is. Sometimes the two is, of course, always a crossroad. The two is a portal now in making a decision in creativity, because it's the second chakra, that's creativity, and also your sexuality, how you use the sexual energy to create something new. And here you are, allowing yourself to finally open up. But remember, these were all upside down. These are all upside down. Because they're all upside down, you are not yet in your power. You are not yet there. But maybe if you listen more to a young generation, the new generation, the way they do things, the way they just intuitively know how to do things, you might open yourself up and become again creative in your art, in the way you see this world. And it's very interesting because these two somehow, as you can see, have something in common. And so these limits that you give yourself, these limits of, know that limiting attitudes are often formed as a protective reaction to past events, is that you got to really open the veil, and receive the light, open the curtain, and show your work, and really dive in, and really not be afraid of it, because you know who you are. You are so giving and so emotional, so give it. Just give it. Like this number 9 of Cups, like this fountain that is just pouring and giving and giving and giving, pouring down, and satisfying not only you but everybody else. And it's important to know how you can lead yourself and then of course others. Then I'm going to put this one straight. Then came the number 23, the storm. And I think this storm is a breaking point here. The storm is like all these reversed cards in this row. And then comes this storm that is like literally coming down in a cleansing way. And you can see how the water is pouring out of her hand. I'm just gonna look into, and that's the number 5. And the 5 is always in the tarot, all the 5s are difficulties, are a moment in the center between Ace and 10. And here it says cleansing. Sometimes you need to raise a lot of energy to blow away what you no longer need. An issue will come to a dramatic head. Cleanse your body. Let go of what you feel you no longer need. Be specific in your release. Harm as little as you can. The word of power is, of course, the storm, and it's coming from the Latin tempestas, temperament. That's where the temperament comes from. So I think you've got to learn not only always to be this loving and kind personality. A healer also needs to break free, and you need to release sometimes the energy and say no more. You need to break free from stuff that you think you need to do, because what comes after is then the 2 of Cups and the call or the judgment, the number 20, 2, and the 0 between. 220. This is Venus in Cancer. And of course, this is the full liberation. So it's not a relationship. If it's in a relationship, you need to speak up. You need to say what you have to say. You see here this charge, and you see here this discharge. These two, this breaking free is liberating your soul, is helping you to find who you truly are, which is the horse, which is that powerful energy, and that's what the moon does. You allowed to look deeper because the moon is coming. And I think there is a full moon now on the 18th of March in Virgo. You go and are going to find a secret. You're going to find something. This number 7, the big secret of too many cards. I'm going to put this down. You're going to find that something needs to break free from you. That this moon in the next Friday, I think it is, yeah, full moon is going to shift you, is going to open you up, and it's time for you to realize that you need to liberate, and you need to liberate your soul, and you need to listen to Venus in Cancer. You need to listen to your self-love. You need to find your own personal union. You need to find this. You need to find who you are. You need to find who you are without a relationship, and always know that you can be without a relationship, and you need to follow your soul's desire. The secret will reveal itself then on the full moon, and then came the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Swords came again, this time now he's standing. Here he was upside down, here's standing, and you got the knowledge. You realized something profound here, and now you can give this information that this moon is holding. This full moon will give you the information so that you can walk forward, that you can be with this young generation. It's very important for you to be with the young generation because you are this woman that's taking care of all. But here is very clearly a young generation speaking to you. You have the voices, all the air, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And here you have Capricorn, you have Virgo, and you have Taurus. So you have this young generation, and you have this childlike look into the new seeds that are flying and finally then growing, and you become yourself this beautiful flower, this beautiful angel. And the last card then is the number 38, the mystical shaman. Then you become yourself a powerful energy that has realized in the 12, again the 3, that has realized what it means to take care of yourself, what it means to liberate yourself, what it means to overcome the limits, because that's also a 38. So these limits are gonna be liberated because you have the 2 times the 38, which is the 12, which is then the 3. A 3-3 power, empowering yourself and opening the curtains so that you can see the creativity flowing out of you, or just the sexual energy flowing out of you, whichever way. The essence. This is the symbol of the myth maker and storyteller who is neither made of nor defined by the story. Instead, he observes it, evolves through it, perceives all aspects of it. In so doing, the mystical shaman represents the ability to dream a new story, a new myth, into being. He dances between worlds, wearing the cloak of the world loosely around his shoulders, and sings the world into being. He reminds us to be in the world and travel through it, but not to be defined by it or become too attached to the experience. This is difficult to do. I face it myself all the time. This is the symbol of true alchemy. For all elements of life have a spiritual aspect and a material one. When we remember this, all manner of miracles and manifestations are possible. The invitation. When the mystical shaman appears, you're invited to consider the ability to live without attachment. You are called to create and dream your life, to act on inspiration and divine impulse without fixating on a known story of success or achievement. Can you impartially observe the stories you tell yourself and others? What if you could become a mystery to yourself? Who would you become if you stopped telling the tales that have defined you up until now? You do not have to live in a story that has roots in the past. What if there were no need to explain you to anyone, not even to yourself? The way to your most extraordinary life is to become a blank slate and allow the form of your dreams and desires to show up as it will. This is a sign of manifesting a life beyond your wildest dreams. As you can see, there is something now, the love from last time, like there's just love. There is, like, I can see again and again, because I'm incorporating the last reading to this reading, that we think we arrived, we think we know everything, and then of course we learn again and again something new. We learn again and again that self-love is being challenged again and again by whomever we meet, whomever comes into our lives. And you are called to create a decision, to make a decision. And of course you have Two of Wands, Two of Voices, Two of Cups. You have 3 times the 2, which is then that creative spark that you have blocked because it was upside down. You are blocking yourself for whatever reason. You're blocking yourself to really open up the curtain. You're blocking yourself to really be an emperor, to really rule, to really lead. And you're blocking yourself to see this new generation that is stepping out there and giving us a clear understanding of what is important now. Because this is a reverse. But you have 3 times the 2, and that's exactly the creativity. That is 3 times the power in your sexuality, the power in your creativity, which then is the raccoon, the artist that is not really being lived by you. So the story that comes up, that the story that you tell yourself again and again needs to be redefined, needs to be relooked, so that you can become this young child that is saying, okay, I am liberating myself from even love stories that maybe are not as fulfilling as you think. But of course, the soulmate story that we tell ourselves all the time is you. You have to find the soulmate within you, not within the partner, within you. Then you liberate. Then you become the shaman. Then you're not dependent on no one. Then really, truly only yourself. And it might be revealed, this secret, in the full moon in Virgo, which is opposite of Pisces. It's the sign, and then things will flow. Look at this. Then you will really allow each seed to just drop and let it blossom again. It's the cycle, the infinite cycle, a cycle that is constantly also connected with Jupiter. Every planet is cyclical. We're having up and down, inhale, exhale. And of course, the limits that you're telling yourself from your past and forms a protective reaction to past events, right? These limiting attitudes will be opening up. Wow, beautiful. So let it out, speak it up, create that release, and remember, no more limits, just possibilities. So I hope I see you in the next reading, because the sun is going into Aries, and Aries is here. So on the 21st of March, you might want to look into those readings then as well. See what speaks to you, because it came upside down. Remember, you want to turn it straight. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.